The President of the United States has complained that I'm engaging in some sort of political witch hunt, that I've got some personal vendetta against him, that I campaigned against him. That is not true.
This illegitimate president who sits in the White House.
That president, because he's not my president, he's an illegitimate president. His days are numbered. His days are numbered.
We've got to get ready to mobilize, and we've got to get ready to agitate and irritate until victory is won, but more importantly, until Trump is defeated.
New York Attorney General Letitia James just pleaded not guilty in federal court in Norfolk, Virginia. It is her first court appearance on a 2-count bank fraud indictment tied to a 2020 home purchase. Prosecutors say Letitia James signed a second home rider agreeing the property would be for her personal use, which got her a better loan term. They say she then rented that house out to a family member instead of actually living in it. Expected to file now, she and her attorneys, a motion to dismiss the case, which she has called vindictive and selective prosecution. She's expected to speak at any moment outside court. We will take you there live. Remember, she ran on taking down Trump. That was her policy change that she was pitching. She is in the law, not necessarily a politician.
Well, Tish has entered her plea. She is pleading not guilty. Big surprise. I still don't see a lot coming from this. As you'll kind of get into the video, most everybody knows about this by now, but I don't know. The money wasn't a lot. Apparently, there's going to be talks about how the prosecutor's inexperienced or how they shared information that they shouldn't have. I don't expect a lot from this. But I don't know. I cannot stand this woman. I cannot stand this woman. I don't know. There's just something about her. She just seems like that person that is so miserable and all they care about is making other people miserable. Maybe I'm wrong. But let's get into the video.
Her plan to ask for the indictment to be dismissed altogether. In a 2-page filing yesterday, lawyers for James cited what they call the unlawful appointment of interim U.S. Attorney Lindsay Halligan. That's President Trump's handpicked prosecutor who brought the indictment against James.
New reporting, first reported by ABC News, but we've confirmed it here at MSNBC, about a memo written by the prosecutors who originally looked at this case, 2 of whom have been fired, which says that the evidence in this case is actually even weaker than it first appears. Remember that what's at issue here is what they say she got an interest rate on this second home that saved her about $50 a month over the life of the loan. Well, this memo says it's actually more like $15 to $30 a month. And it says that the rules about occupancy are unclear. And for that reason, this is not a great case and will be hard to prove beyond a reasonable doubt. Because remember, the issue is here, she said it was a second home, but actually prosecutors say she used it as an investment property because her niece lived there. This memo says that prosecutors found very little evidence that the niece actually paid rent, only about $1,300 in rent over the years that she was living there. So undercutting the idea that this was actually an investment property. Jonathan.
Letitia James's defense wants this case tossed out to begin with, saying that U.S. Attorney Lindsay Halligan shouldn't be in her position to begin with. That's a similar argument we're seeing from James Comey's defense attorneys. How realistic is that?
First of all, it is realistic to the extent that 2 other courts have already granted those motions in Nevada and in New Jersey. And so while generally speaking, this is kind of an odd motion, we're also seeing this president use interim and acting positions with a frequency never before seen. Now, he'll say that's because he can't get his nominees through what's called the blue slip process, which allows home state senators to essentially pass judgment on nominees before they're brought to the Senate floor for confirmation. But notwithstanding that, Lindsay Halligan is in her role after somebody else was already in that role for 120 days. That's the basis for the motion here. Jim Comey and Letitia James's motions about Lindsay Halligan's appointment and its lawfulness have been consolidated. As of today, they'll likely go to a judge outside the Eastern District of Virginia, and I think they have a pretty good shot. The difference here, though, is that the very validity of the indictment turns on whether Lindsay Halligan was lawfully appointed. Why? Because she's the only person who went into the grand jury. She's the only person who signed the indictment, Ariel.
So just to drill down on that, Leslie, I know you alluded to this before. How rare is this that we are seeing the undercutting of the arguments before we even see them presented in court?
So I think it's pretty rare, and I think that's because this case is pretty rare. I was a prosecutor in various offices for about 18 years with DOJ, and I've never seen this particular statute used in such a small money kind of case. I mean, it's a very small amount of money that's even alleged. So even if there was a fraud, which I'm not saying there was or wasn't, it was too small for a federal prosecutor to bring a case. So I think that makes it very unusual right off the bat.
Okay, so Catherine, let me play a little bit of what Ed Martin, this is Trump's pardon attorney at the DOJ, said earlier. He oversees the so-called weaponization group. Let's listen.
If they can be charged, we'll charge them. But if they can't be charged, we will name them. And we will name them. And in a culture that respects shame, they should be people that are shamed.
Thank you for your prayers. I want to thank you for your emails. I want to thank you for your support. It has strengthened my spirit and it has anchored my soul.
What is fueling my soul right now is Trump.
And so I want to thank you. But this is not about me.
Said I know my name personally.
This is about all of us.
Will you sue him for us? Oh, we're going to definitely sue him. We're going to be a real pain in the ass.
And about a justice system which has been weaponized. I look forward to going into the office of Attorney General every day, suing him, and then going home. A justice system which has been used as a tool of revenge. This justice system which has been used as a tool of revenge and a weapon against those individuals who simply did their job and who stood up for the rule of law. And a justice system which unfortunately is nothing being used as a vehicle of retribution. But my faith is strong. And my faith is, I have this belief in the justice system, in the rule of law, and I have a belief in America and all of its individuals who have stood with me, not only in New York, but all across this nation.
It's going to be a real pain in the ass.
Well, there you go. Another performance by Tish James. She was a little shaken there. The court process, and I don't know if she'd already done the mug shot, and I assume she had, and the fingerprinting and all that. That probably had her a little shooken up if she had already done those things. But she wasn't her typical fiery self in that little, speech there. But already had the podium and the mics and all that stuff. So funny. Anyway, I know. I don't want to be mean. I just cannot stand this woman. I mean, I thank God every day I don't live in New York and have to deal with someone like this and have to see this. I will say it's funny as hell to watch. It's great entertainment. Politics is my favorite comedy. And Tish James is, definitely in that lead cast right now. I don't expect much to come from this. From some of the information that they've laid out, some of the evidence that they've laid out, as far as like there not being anything, I think she was saving somewhere between, it could range from $15 to $50 a month, apparently, that she was saving on the interest, which I guess depending on how long you pay could, add up. But I don't see a lot coming from this, and I could be wrong. I don't know. Let's see if we can find out more about what's going to. Maybe the judge will have because we're going to talk about the judge. Maybe he'll have a difference in opinion.
What do we know about the judge in this instance, as well as his record, and how that might be applicable here?
Well, Allie, Judge Jamar Walker has only been on the bench since March of 2023. He was nominated to the bench by President Joe Biden. And prior to that, he served as an assistant U.S. attorney in the same district where he is a judge, the Eastern District of Virginia. He was an assistant U.S. attorney there for 8 years. Prior to that, he was an associate at a Washington law firm. But he is steeped in Virginia. He was born and bred on the Eastern Shore of Virginia, a graduate of the University of Virginia and its law school. The other thing that we know about Jamar Walker is that he is the first Article III judge in Virginia to identify as openly gay, lesbian, bisexual, or transgender. And the other thing I want to point out to you is that he is exceptionally young. He is 38 or 39 years old. I can't tell exactly which, but based on his date of birth, this is a very young judge who, again, has prosecutorial experience in the district where he is now a judge, where he is overseeing a case where the U.S. attorney who alone brought the indictment herself has never had any prosecutorial experience. This is a district that is proud of its record. As you know, they refer to it as the rocket docket because it handles criminal cases particularly expeditiously, which means that the competence of prosecutors and their speed and fluency with the federal law are both important to their overall success. Jamar Walker, therefore, may be a tough judge with respect to what has gone on in the Eastern District of Virginia.
The president of the...
Well, so yeah, again, nothing will come of it. Take a look at that judge. I mean, without stating the obvious, black, openly gay, young, former prosecutor. I know there was something else they put in there. Tough judge. This is going nowhere. It's probably going to be dismissed. I just cannot imagine much coming from this. It is kind of funny to see her get a little bit of retribution, or not, for Trump to get a little revenge on her, I should say, for what she did to him. But yeah, I don't know. Couldn't happen to a finer person. Big Tish. Love you. I'll see you guys in the next video.